Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we only got one call today. Sacramento, California.
Elkhorn, Janice. Yes?
Yes, sir.
What's the story with the spot? What happened?
So I was looking for old laundromats, and then there was a sign at the end of the street for the realtor. And then when I was calling, I was asking about the laundromat they had in that location. He said it wasn't available, but he gave me. He said he had a friend that was getting ready to. She's the property owner or the landlord, the landlord, and they was trying to get rid of the guy because he was old and he doesn't have a lease. So they've been trying to look for anybody to come in and take over the spot. But she said when I called
so
her,
you
she said
found a
I had
laundromat somewhere else, and there was a sign for a real estate agent on the property, and you called it, and they said, "Well, no, we have a lease in place, but go check this spot out and this other real estate agent."
He said his friend, which is a landlord, had a spot that they were trying to get rid of the operator there.
I understand.
He was old, and it was.
The problem is now this worked out really well, and this was very fortuitous. I mean, if this works, I don't know. But initially, you had a messed up, nasty, filthy laundromat, I assume, with broken equipment. It meets the parameters for success for us. And you had a phone number to a real estate agent. You should have stopped right there and given me that information. You should not have called and talked to them. I mean, not only on YouTube, but also in my course. And this is the thing, the operative word is if you hire me, let me make initial contact. Let me make that happen. You did well. They said no, but here's another spot. However, if that spot was plausible, you would be stuck having a conversation with them about the lease. Or you'd say, well, my partner's going to talk to you, and then they wonder why you're incapable of it. So I'm not scolding you. You're a grown man, but I'm telling you, 1,000 times a day, I'm telling people, don't discuss the lease with the landlord or their agent if you've hired me, because it ties my hands. It makes it almost impossible to do this. Okay, so this real estate agent's name is Janice, and you haven't talked to her. You didn't call her. Or did you?
I made that mistake. I made that mistake, Danny, honestly.
Why is it a mistake? How did the conversation go? Do you have a long-term lease with 12 or 18 months of free rent, and they're going to throw a bunch of money at you for tenant improvements?
I did not talk about anything about that. Only thing, when the guy gave me the number to call, he told me to contact her. Her name is Janice. And I got on the phone with her.
Why did you make that call? Why? Please explain it to me.
That was the mistake that I made.
Why? Put me back in that time. How many days, weeks, months, minutes ago was this call made? How long ago did you make the call?
This was last week.
Why
this
did
was
you
all
call?
last week.
You have one real estate agent telling you, hey, call my friend who's a realtor. This address is messed up. You had the contact digits. Why did you call?
You know, I think I kind of got excited. And I didn't ask her anything about the square footage. She asked her when I got on the phone, what's the running on this location? And that's what she told me. They're tired of this. You know, he's old. They're ready to get this guy out of there. And then she started explaining blah, 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 blah. And I told them I'm partnered with somebody and we look for locations and stuff. And this may fit our criteria. And I told her we'll reach out with you Tuesday.
So the answer to the why is because you got excited. But I'm wondering if you
Yeah.
even understand how any of this process works. You do a
I can
crime,
see.
you're guilty. I don't care what it is. You steal a pack of gum,
Yeah.
you murder somebody. The police grab you. Do you talk to the police?
No,
You're
I mean,
guilty.
if you commit,
You're guilty.
yeah, you're guilty. Yeah.
Do you talk to the police?
If you explain the crime to them that what you did, officer, I'm guilty. This is the act that I committed.
Well, you're a good man. You're not a criminal, obviously. But a lot of my clients, we watch television, we watch Law and Order. I'm not saying you're a criminal, but you're not really good at being a criminal either, because the answer is
I'm
no.
not.
No, you don't talk to. You're guilty. You don't talk. Half the time, if you're innocent, you probably shouldn't. But they're trying to pin something on you. You've done it. You say, "I want to talk to my lawyer." Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. It does. Yeah, I can see.
Now,
I can see how they could be an issue if
I'm
I'm
not
telling somebody that.
but dude, you saw the video in the course where I literally, it's a short video, sure, but the point of it is so that every potential client that's going to work with me, again, the if is the operative word. If you've hired me, it doesn't make any sense to talk to these folks. And perhaps you're an extremely eloquent, well-spoken, intelligent person who can put several congruent sentences together, and you say words to them and it's all good and fine. But at the end of the day, when you say, well, I'm going to sick my partner on you who's really, really good at lease negotiating, at the very least, that's making that landlord or agent, number one, not want to discuss with your partner this potential lease because he's the ringer. How do you think the cops feel in the other scenario when they're pretty sure you're guilty of a crime, fingerprints everywhere, you've signed the crime scene, I stole the pack of gum, and when you say, I want a lawyer, they get upset. He's bringing in a professional. I want to try to understand it. I really want to understand in that moment why you made the oh, congratulations, you found it. You shouldn't have called the first guy. Just explain it to me. Why did you pick up the phone and call the first guy? You found a good laundromat, meaning a horrible laundromat. You found a contact phone number on a sign. We know it's good. You don't need to vet that number. You don't need to call it. When you see a number on a sign that is not peeling, chipped, falling apart, sign is on fire, it looks decent, hand painted or otherwise, and it says, this is the realtor for this property, you're done. Give it to me. I'm looking for a solid answer. I'll move on as soon as I get some modicum of a sense of why you called not only him, but then you had him telling you, this is my friend. This is a laundromat with a month-to-month lease. And then you called her. Just explain it to me. You don't have to.
I don't really have a good answer for you for that one.
You can't put yourself in that time. Can you remember your first kiss? Maybe you can explain to me who she was and where you were, the smell in the air. I mean, I would remember. I remember everything about mine. Can you put yourself in the moment when you had that number? Where were you when you called this gal?
I was sitting in my car.
See, here we go. Had you just received the number from the previous realtor?
Yes, sir, I did.
You wrote it down or memorized it? Probably wrote it down.
I put everything in contact on my phone as he was telling to me on the phone.
So since we are there in that plate, were your windows rolled up or down?
Halfway.
Windows are halfway down. What time of day was it?
I want to say, let's see, around 10 o'clock maybe.
10 a.m., I hope.
Yes.
And you called and she answered and you said what?
Hi. I've received. You say, man, come on, man. What do you want me to say?
Hi.
What do you want me to say?
Were you high at the time? Don't answer that.
No,
ask for your lawyer. Okay. The dude, it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not chastising you. I shouldn't care. I should just listen to you tell me the story and say, great, let's follow up. Give me the bullet points here. Tell me what happened on that call with Janice.
Say, good morning, this Janice? And she said, yes. So your friend, such and such gave me your number. He said you have a laundromat. That may be intriguing. So what's the rundown on this location? And
mistake.
That's where she went.
Big mistake. Right there. You never hear me ask a realtor or a landlord about the laundromat. Do you understand why?
No.
There are so many small, subtle nuances in what I do and the way I do it, and this is one of them. Never do I call up and say, tell me about the laundry. Tell me about the history of the laundry. Tell me about the only thing I might ask about is their rate of rent moving forward. But you never hear me ask, tell me about the laundry. Because now she's saying, oh, that puts her in an expert position and you in a subservient position. Did you go to this store at that point? Obviously not, because he just gave you the number, right?
After she gave me the address.
Okay, I understand. When you called Janice, had you seen the location yet? No.
No.
You told me the guy just gave you the number and cut out the sir shit.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at photographs in the document that you provided me, but this is after you had a conversation. And in my opinion, there was no need for you to call her and suss this out, because he said, here's her number. I'm pretty sure this condition of the store, that it's month to month and it's probably ripe for a takeover. Go call her. You should have run over there, scouted the store, took the pictures. Instead, you called and you put yourself in that subservient position of saying, can you please tell me about this store The disposition, not only the disposition of the lease, but that's a very general question.
Right.
So, and she probably blathered on about it, but please understand the deep-seated mental implications of that. I know I'm going overboard, but I need to. You never hear me call a realtor and say, tell me about the disposition of the laundromat. I can see what's going on in the laundromat by walking in, the smell of it, the handwritten signs, all of the indications of failure. The place is filthy. The equipment's out of order. Now, I'm looking at these pictures, and this is a fairly neat store. I don't see a lot of out of order signs. I see a lot of dead houseplants in there, like dead as a doornail houseplants. So they don't have a green thumb. They're like my wife. But beyond that, give me the bullet. What did she say to you about this place?
So what she informed me was the guy that he was old, and the owner of the lot, they were ready to get rid of him, and they tried to they renewed the lease in the past, and they just weren't ready to go through with it. So now he's on a month-to-month. At least that's what she said. And I didn't ask her anything about the rate of rent. She just added all that. That's when she said we were looking for 85 cents a square foot, 60 cents for the triple net. I didn't ask her anything about that.
Dude,
and she said
just that alone, Jeremiah, just that alone, you didn't put any of that in the document. None of it's written here. I mean, those are facts that she gave you. Even that. Just help me out, man. Look, if you're serious about owning a lot, this isn't some scratch-off lottery ticket, okay? I'm going to get personal here for a minute. This isn't a game you're playing. And I ask you and every client, I beg you, put everything in the document so that we have it documented, right? The date,
Yes,
the previous guy. First name only. Who gave you her number? What was that realtor's name at the first place?
His name was Jason.
Jason. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. In the document, it would be lovely if it said, I scouted X address. That address should be in here anyway with the photos of that previous store. And Jason's, the picture of the sign that he has in the parking lot, et cetera, et cetera. I always ask you and every client in the document, where did you get the number? It doesn't say it here. It should. I know you told me the story, but it needs to be written down. She's not the landlord, right? She's the realtor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, you and that, sir. Realtor's name, Janice. Jason, her friend, and a realtor provided it. Did you Google her phone number?
Did I Google the phone number? No.
Okay. Each and every single time that you put a number in front of me, I ask, I beg that you Google it. Jeremiah, if this was a simple quiz in high school, what grade would you get on this? What do you think?
Failing grade.
And look, it's not my place, again, to chastise you about this, but I want you to take this very, very seriously. When I Google her name, it comes up. She's a professional realtor with Century 21. We have her last name. We have a little photograph. When you, I'm sorry, not Google her name. When I Google the phone number, it's called reversing the number. So this is the info that I would like for you in the future to provide for me. This is all outlined in the document. The phone number, how you got it, and then you Google it. And it might show nothing. And we know that Janice is probably not a very good real estate agent. It appears that she is. They're asking 85 cents, which is fantastic. And this store is operating and appears to be operating with a gentleman as old as he might be. God bless him. He's working hard to keep the store running. But obviously they have issues with him. Whatever they are, I wouldn't ask. Did she say anything personal or individualized as it relates to this operator? Because sometimes they do. Did she say anything about his attitude or the way he treats customers or anything about him?
It was they did have some issues with him, but she didn't really go into, I don't remember the details. I don't think she went into details on it.
Well, those are two separate things. You don't remember, or she didn't go into the details. And this is why when we make calls together, we're going to be taking the notes. All right, enough of this. Does she have any idea that I'm going to be calling and what my contact telephone number is?
She has an idea that you're going to be calling. She doesn't know what your contact information is.
Imagine how fantastic it would be because of all this buildup and you and I on the phone for 20 minutes. Excited as you were initially, now here it is, 9 a.m. California time. We're ready to call Janice, and God forbid she doesn't answer because she doesn't know who I am or where I'm calling from. Now, that would be the one good thing that would have come out of your contact. I'm not asking you or any client to call and make appointments with these people because they won't be kept. What is the makeup of this strip mall? The last thing I would like to know that you can provide inside information on. There's a laundry, and I don't need specifics. I don't want to hear that there's Pizza Hut. I just want to know that there's a national pizza chain or something of that nature. What else is there, if you remember?
They have a closed down space, and on the end of it is the liquor store.
So there's only 3 suites.
Yes, sir.
Also, additional information I would love to hear. Now we know that this landlord has a liquor store, a failing laundromat with a month-to-month tenant, and an empty suite. Is Janice's number on the empty suite?
No, sir, it's not.
Somebody's dropped the ball there. Or they're looking to lease it and they already have a letter of intent and someone lined up for that space. But that is very telling. If the liquor store is a stellar spot and people are excited to go in there and buy their drinks, drive through, lit up, floppy sign guy and all that, great. But then they have this thorn in their side, which is this failing tenant, which could be a stellar, phenomenal laundromat, and it will be when you take over. Did you give her that sense? It's hard for the client because, I can say, well, here's my experience that I bring to the table, i.e. you, because we're partnering together. I applaud you for bringing me on board, as will Janice. All right, all of this is academic. Let's cross our fingers as hard as we can and hope that she actually answers the phone.
Oh, shit. I'm crossing them right now, too.
What?
I'm crossing my fingers right now.
Oh, God. Okay. I thought you said that you were having a heart attack or that she was calling you. I don't know. Relax. There's no such thing as luck. All right. I'm dialing the number.
All right.
I do not have this number in my phone. Never reached out to her. Never had any contact with her. This address is new to me. So all this is lovely. And 85 cents is their ask. I'm going to shave that and I'm going to explain to her why. Here we go. Fingers crossed tightly. I'm just kidding. Did you subscribe? Now's your chance. When the phone rings, that's when you sub.
Hi, Janice speaking.
Janice, lovely to speak with you.
Yes.
Danny D'Angelo, you spoke with my partner in reference to the laundromat, Jeremiah, briefly.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I have some experience in the industry. I've been running laundries for over 20 years and, frankly, with quite a few stores in 3 states, I've done well. And mostly because this is what we do. We look for underperforming laundries, to put it politely, stores that are falling apart. And we want to reach out to you, see if and when that lease is available, sign it, renew the store with new equipment. Should make sense to you, because what we're doing is spending the money on equipment and on our future success instead of spending the money on buying someone's failed laundromat or building one from scratch, which I kind of see as recipes for disaster, if that makes sense. It's my understanding that there is really no lease, if that's the case.
And so at this point, I mean, we're expecting it soon, but his time is up in 2 weeks at the end of this month.
Oh, goodness.
So it just depends on how difficult it is to get him out after that, because he's kind of not responding. He's just not, he's out there like trying to sell something that he doesn't really have.
Sure.
And,
meaning, and I'm not asking about anything personal or your rent rolls, but I appreciate the inside information. So your tenant is trying to sell the business rights?
Right.
Okay.
But there's not really, and in doing so, so I don't represent the tenant. I represent the ownership, and in doing
landlords,
so,
yeah.
landlords. But in doing so, what he's done is his agent has had every laundromat prospective tenant sign an NDA. So, and come to find out, finally they'll do that thinking, oh, they're going to be making a deal. But then what happens is he doesn't have any he has no information. He has no profit and income. He has nothing to give them.
Janice, I like your style. Let me tell you, in my experience, I had 36 stores, okay, starting with the first one that I purchased. That would be the only laundromat I would ever buy. Let me back up. Let me take a wild guess. Janice does not go to a laundromat every Sunday, do you?
No, I haven't been to.
Don't feel bad about it. Me neither. I'm going back even further, right? The earth cooled, the dinosaurs came. Middle class folks don't frequent laundromats. We just don't. We have a washer dryer. If we're lucky, we have a whole room full of washer dryers in the basement somewhere. But it's this odd dichotomy where this industry is full of people that buy the business and they know nothing about it. And I don't mean you need to know how to paint a Picasso in order to own an art gallery. I mean, my analogies don't always work, but you better damn well know what sells. Now, at the end of the day, these people buy these stores over and over again because what works for con artists is greedy people. You need that. That's part of it. And I'm not saying every business owner is greedy, but they say, oh my God, I'm going to be picking up money out of the streets. Oddly, we went and visited this store. He's ripped off all the out of order signs. This equipment is 25 years old. It's at end of life. I know that by looking at it. So I'm going chronologically, right? You and I don't frequent laundromats. We don't know anything about the business, yet we think we can buy them. It's picking up money out of the streets. And so we buy a laundromat, or God forbid, build one. That's just as bad. I don't do that. My partner and I scout them. We find them. We found this through your friend Jason, who said, well, we were looking at another store that is under his management umbrella. And he said, well, this one's good. They pay the rent, but go talk to Janice. So here we are. I would like to sign a 15-year lease with you, contingent on the exit of this tenant. Now, in between somewhere, I missed something. Yes, this poor guy thinks that he's going to sell this place. And yes, he has probably a business broker who will sell you a yogurt stand or a national chain or a laundromat. And he's telling people, sign this non-disclosure agreement. We'll talk to you about buying the business, whatever the price is. It's probably $100,000. I don't know. It's usually
Right.
three.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he started up higher than that, but yeah, he's
Three.
definitely.
It's always 300 grand,
deals.
Janice. How do I know? Because I see it over and over. I don't do hostile takeovers. I'm not signing NDAs through brokers with my partner Jeremiah and then trying to figure out where these laundromats are located. Instead, we walk into the store. Nobody needs to tell us where they were. I feel a little shitty here because I didn't know where this one was, and Jason is not the guy that we used to find them. We would have eventually walked in there, if you follow, because we're building more stores in Sacramento. This probably all makes perfect sense to you. I feel bad for the tenant, but him thinking if he sells this business for $50,000, who's your tenant? It's okay to use dirty words. An idiot. Your tenant would be a fool because they gave, and there's usually earnest money that's non-refundable in these deals. It's horrible. And these are intelligent, thinking people that have money to spend, but they know nothing about the laundry industry. They know nothing about what they're buying. They walk in and see streets paved with gold. They have them come in there on a Sunday when it's busy. And again, I just want you to understand, our interest is in signing a lease, nothing more, nothing less. Yes, extricating this guy from the place is entirely up to you. You're going to do that anyway. We can sign that lease contingent on his exit if it's today, tomorrow, next week, next year. Not kidding. We're going to get our ducks in a row with new equipment. This place, and I'll ask a couple questions here in a minute, depending on the square footage, we'll happily spend $300,000, but it'll be on washers and dryers and elevating this laundromat, not to give someone money to exit. Do you know why I'm calling you? Do you know why I'm even interested in this space? It's a one-word answer. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
No guess?
Oh, no. Yeah, go ahead. Let me know.
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in goodwill. That's another word. I'm not interested in the signage that's out front. It's the fact that this place is already a laundromat. So I don't have to build it. I don't have to buy it. And I'm rambling. What I need to know, and maybe this never works out for us, I need a rate of rent that is commensurate with a laundromat, not just the area, not what the liquor store is paying. And if that rate makes sense, we'll do a 15-year term. I need a long term because this is a big investment. This isn't like some yogurt shop. You know, the equipment is industrial and costly. And we're going to do our best to get it operating in a timely manner. We're going to fill your parking lot. We're going to change the outlook of this center. And I see you have another empty suite. What's the plan for that suite? Anything yet?
So the other offers, well, for the people that really couldn't be making them, but the other offers, the people that come in, one of them does have probably 10 laundromats in a different area, and they're like moving it into this area. And so they are saying, hey, we need that space because there's more dryers that are required, and that they need that space that's to the left, if that's the space that you're talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
gotcha. So you're keeping that open. Well, let me stop you. They're offered to buy, but now they are also in discussions with you about a lease?
So, yeah, one of them, the owner of the laundromat gave permission because his deal was contingent. That guy's business, to buy his business was contingent on a lease because he has no lease. He had to give him permission to come because he's like, well, if I have to, my deal is contingent on a lease. That makes sense. At least that part of it is if I can't get a lease, then
Janice,
no, I'm not.
This doesn't change my opinion about that potential tenant. Don't want to know who they are. Don't want to hear the name. I'm sure we frequent the same cocktail parties. Likely not. They're an idiot. because they're offering this guy
Right.
money. And now they know, I don't know if you told them, but normally these deals are done where there's this pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I can't tell you who the landlord is or their agent. You don't have a sign in the parking lot. You haven't hung a sign in the empty suite next door. Listen, I don't get into bidding wars. I don't want to do that. I want to be in first position, of course, because I don't want to waste my energy or yours. We're looking to sign a lease. Again, I won't repeat it again. Contingent on the exit of the tenant. So we have a lease. We're ready to bring
So
in.
this is,
Go ahead.
So, understood. We don't even know the exact square footage of the space, but it's approximately 2,200 square feet. And the space that's next door, to the left is 1,186
Okay.
square feet. So,
Let me
so
tell you
our
why.
offers,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me tell you why I wouldn't want the space next door. And that I might be cutting
Okay.
my own throat here because you say, well, we like the other guy better because he wants that space.
Mhm.
In order to put those dryers in, they're going to have to go back to the city and talk about environmental impact fees. Okay. They're going to have to talk to the state of California, and those fees are preposterous. I would have guessed this space, having been there, is 2,000 square feet. So 2,200 square feet below roof is good for us. It's a good footprint. Now I'm giving you the opportunity to take the other 1,186 and put some optometrist in there. That's I don't want it. I don't need it for storage, and I certainly don't want. I don't build laundromats. This will be another jewel in the crown for Jeremiah and I. You notice I didn't say feather in my cap. Feathers blow away. The jewel in the crown, my newest store is always my favorite one, the baby that needs the coddling. And that's what we are looking to do. I can only tell you why these other folks are probably not in the position that we are in. Don't know who they are. Doesn't matter. None of this is personal. Frankly, I feel for the people that buy laundromats and lose. Your potential new tenants here are going to do far better than the guy that bought this place and bought a bill of goods. I'm going to put together a letter of intent. What's your asking rate? What is your ask on this spot?
well, I'm going to just tell you from already negotiating with ownership for the space. They've turned down the other offer, basically that other offer, because they thought he was an idiot. They're
Wait,
like, we don't want
the guy that has 10 stores?
No, the one that they gave permission for us to speak to. The
Okay,
person that has 10 stores, they really want that person, but that they did do something that wasn't very bright, and then they have money, but they signed this they signed the NDA,
Yeah.
and then realized after the fact, because they were like, okay, they did say, we know it's not worth anything for whatever reason. They wanted to they're like, we're just going to give them some money to, out of charity, basically. We're going to give them some money, and then we're just going to move forward. Well, then when things went sour and he went, looking somewhere else, she decided to, okay, well, we'll just wait till he's gone and we'll move forward. But when she went to do so, her attorney looked at it and said, you signed an NDA for 2 years. And so, anyways, and then they went and did their recognizance.
The individual, the first guy, the idiot, is really moot. That's neither here nor there. Then the second one, and between you and I, Janice,
Right.
anybody who buys a laundromat's an idiot in my book, but I learned that a long time ago. I'm not that old. And then the one that has 10 stores,
they had money. Yeah. So
she signed an NDA. Yeah, they got 10 laundromats. They make money, and they're scout.
Yeah.
But they found this store doing what people do. They found it by looking for laundromats for sale. That's how they found it. It's not how I found it. Jeremiah and I, we're not signing any NDA. So they're out for 2 years either way.
Right. So unfortunately, I've let ownership know, like, they can't go. They're like, well, that's who we wanted. And so they're like,
when they hear from me,
they turned down the other offer when they came back from the other offer. I believe he didn't listen to me. I believe if he had put in, they would have been more open to start at 80 cents. But I'm going to tell you that they came back and said, we're not talking to anybody that's not offering 85 cents. So I believe they would go to 80 cents with knowing, I mean, their deal is they want to go in with somebody that they feel like makes good decisions, because the only reason why they want to keep the laundromat is if it's going to be one that's ran well, that makes it a better center, because they don't like, I mean, they were already, this is the second time they've went and, to evict him, because it doesn't bring in good people, and they're trying to turn that corner around over there. And,
Janice,
there's no problems on the other issues.
I could pretend right now to talk to you about how we elevate the center, but I already did.
Mm-hmm.
I already told you that. If it comes to something, right? If it comes to something, my parking lot needs to be well lit, sparkling clean. We don't get into fights or arguments with the other tenants about who's parking where or what's going on. The liquor store is good. If they have problems, how long have you worked with this landlord?
I do all of their properties in Northern California, and it's been 3 years.
Okay.
So I know them well.
Yeah.
It's a family owned.
Excellent. And I like your style from the get. What we intend to become is the police of this center, because I see red personally when I see some homeless folks hanging out, or some drug addicts doing stupid shit, or people that are buying liquor at the liquor store. And I've had some liquor store neighbors, and plenty of them, and dollar stores, and the type, and the smoke shops and the vape shops. I don't go communicate with them. I communicate with the knuckleheads, as I call them, and the local PD. We sign rights to trespass. And I'm not out there personally stunning people at 3 a.m. I don't go to my stores after dark, but we take care of business. The only negative signage in my laundromats is a little 1-inch thing that says no loitering. And we sign rights to trespass, so we're able to call and take care of it, because I see red. That's the food in my kids' mouths. That is what we provide. I hear what you're saying. What are your triple nets? If we do 85 cents per square foot, I heard you, look, this is a negotiation, whether we like it or not. And you said they're not going to accept less than. Okay. I'm not going to go into where they arrived at the price, et cetera. When someone says that, and I'm not here to teach you anything, when someone says they won't accept any less, okay. The difference with us and a dollar store, or the optometrist you might get next door, or the liquor shop, is they have items that they sell, right? They put the stuff on the shelf. If you get a nail salon next door, that's a service industry. We have to spend the money on the equipment. This will be $250,000, $300,000 in washers and dryers alone without breaking a sweat. And we want to get those in there. Yes, we like the infrastructure. No, we don't. We don't try to limp this place along with that equipment that's in there in any way, shape, or form. Now, your previous operator who thinks he's got a saleable business, he does own that equipment, and he can take it with him. I'll put that in my LOI, but he can't harm the infrastructure in any way. You know this. You're a professional realtor. And that needs to be made clear to him, not from us. I have personally stood in front of operators as they exit their laundromat and stared them down, but just to make sure they don't cut the copper or start messing around. The old wives' tale that they're going to pour concrete down the drain, that doesn't really happen. It could, but it doesn't. Yeah. At the end of the day, their ownership stops at that equipment, just like in your home. You can change your washer out. You can't just start pulling the copper out of the walls. So next thing, we're going to write you a letter of intent. You're going to see it within 24 hours at 85 cents per square foot. I can't speak to your triple nets, whatever they are. I hope they're not high. What are they?
Well, I'm going to tell you, and we just raised them for the first time in over a decade. Yeah. Well, they were the problem is this, the boys, their father passed away, and they took it over, and they had to smarten up business wise, because the center was, it's in the red. So, and it's because of these old tenants from their father from many years ago, and he never made any raises. So now, they had to actually evaluate the numbers,
Yeah.
and it's 60 cents now.
Okay.
It was 45, but it didn't cover the cost. So they're not charging for extra.
I understand. Look, I can't do
Yeah.
anything about triple nets. I've
Right.
got stores in Colorado where we've got snow removal. Here we don't. So 60 cents, you're saying, is the triple net. I'm
Yep.
not going to include that in my LOI because I don't provide what is gospel. I can't change that. On a 15-year term, how much abatement can you offer? I'm going to need some runway with free rent in order to get this place retooled.
So how much time do you need?
15 years, I usually ask for 12 months.
Right. So this is what's going to be preferred. And again, I feel it's just because they're hurting. It's completely reasonable in 12 months. And that's what, other offers have included. And they're just, well, you can't do 12 months. This is the thing. They don't have money. They never participate in TI. So free rent is the only way that they normally go.
Yeah, there was my next question.
That's what they do. In replacement, they do that. And usually it is okay, well, you guys are doing this much. Okay, we understand. So what we can do. What they're asking is, look, we just can't give up a whole year. Can they spread it out? So my suggestion would be more like, if you can do it like 9 months for the first year, like lower that and put the 3 months, like a month the next year free and a month the next year free and so on.
Sure.
Say
and
no spread
more.
It out and
I understand.
You understand?
We're not asking for
Yeah.
12 months, Janice, in order to squeeze you. And
Yeah.
if my next question would be tenant improvement money. And I'm very frank, just like you. Is there money? No, it's a family. They have, even if they have 100 other centers that are doing really well. Personally, I own commercial space myself. I would look at this as an island. This center is not doing well. You've got one failed tenant you're trying to get out. You've got the liquor store. I don't know what their story is.
Okay, so let me tell you, on the corner, around the corner is the actual liquor store. That's not really a liquor store right there on the corner.
Right.
But the liquor store is, that guy's going out too on the corner, and the liquor store owner is buying that business from them on the corner. And really everybody just wants everything cleaned up. There's a lot of people that are just invested inside of their businesses in the area.
Right.
And the laundromat is the biggest issue right now. Next to the right, that's vacant too, down the little ramp there. And that was the biggest issue tenant of bringing in whatever was going on. I felt like it was drug deals and stuff.
I thought there were 3 suites. How many suites are there?
3, what do you mean? 3?
How many suites?
How many suites are available?
No. In total, the liquor store, the laundromat, that's 2.
Oh no, they own the center going all the way down around the corner.
Okay.
Not
Got
just
it.
they own the center there.
Perfect.
So
do you know that number offhand? How many suites total? Empty, full, laundromat, liquor store? How many are there?
We have 2 empty. There's one that's 2 doors down from you to the right, the barber shop, which we evicted to get rid of riffraff, and then the one to the left of you. The corner space, there's nobody. All the other tenants are good, so
Okay.
we don't anticipate anything else opening up. We have Liberty Towers around the corner.
You have to imagine that there are really good laundromats, and that's what we do. Just like any business, there are really good barbershops. As a landlord, you don't want the hangout barber on the corner. You don't want that. You want somebody that's not doing business out the back door. And I hate to say it, a national chain type of place where folks are not coming and going other than getting their hair cut. I get it. I understand it. I'm going to do 9 months abatement up front. We're going to spread out the other, if there's 0 TI, no TI, I would normally ask for 18 months of abatement. And since we're spreading it out, I'm going to do 14 months. And I don't want to surprise you with anything, but you're going to see the way that it's spread out. 9 up front.
Okay.
I can't even get this place retooled within 3 months. So the equipment doesn't sit on the shelves. You go to Lowe's Depot and you order a washer, you expect to leave with it. We all know that
No, I
doesn't
understand.
necessarily happen with industrial equipment.
Right. They know the time frame for that. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm not looking to fight over this. Do me a favor. This is my cell phone number that you're looking at. Am I calling you on yours?
Yes.
Okay. I'll email you the LOI. Give me a day. Put it together. We want to do this thing. We want to sign this thing. And a signed LOI is as good as gold, contingent on the exit of this tenant. I can't speak to how long it's going to take. Look, the guy knows he doesn't have anything for sale. And if I were you, if you're communicating with him directly, I'm not here to give you advice. I would just say, look, there are people out scouring the universe for laundromats, which there are, and a very, very big operator found this spot and they've made an offer. Get the fuck out. That's all you have to do.
Right.
And I don't care if he takes every stick of equipment and his old box TV off the wall and his. What's funny is when we went, he had just cleaned up when we scouted it, and he pulls all the out of order signs off because he doesn't want a potential buyer to see that. But then he has to deal with people endlessly saying this machine's broken, which means no one's coming in. And you said something telling. He doesn't provide any figures as far as income. How are you going to buy a business without any P&L statements? Come on. That's
right.
Well,
I don't know if you were there when the owner's there, but he's a very elderly man. And no, I mean, our biggest concern was when he leaves that we were going to have to pay to get his equipment out of there because I don't even know that he's capable.
Except
I don't
people
think they'll
take that
it.
old equipment out of spite or it gets repossessed, believe it or not. And even a repossess, it's where you go to a yard sale, there's a lawnmower. The guy selling the lawn, hey, does it work? That's your only question. Yeah, it works like a champ. It's brand new. Put some gas in it. Let's start it up. I don't have any gas. Well, here you have a bad salesman because he doesn't have a gallon of gas. I'm not buying that lawnmower. It's worthless. Laundromat equipment, no matter how old it is, pulled out of a laundromat is worthless. And he knows that.
Right.
So if he does, you have to be gentle, but you have to say, look, it's over. You're never going to sell it. Who knows how long he's been trying? How long has this guy been a tenant? That's the only question I'll ask, and I'm intrigued. How long has he been a tenant?
Decades.
Decades. Okay.
A long time.
So he thinks that his exit, the guy should have marched into your office. You've known this landlord for 3 years. He should have marched into your office, signed another lengthy lease, and retooled it, doing exactly what we're doing. He'd make more money.
Yeah, but he's done. Ever since I've known that owner of the laundromat, he's like, I need to retire.
Of course he's done.
I need to retire. So now he's just decided to go.
He's like, ready to go, and he wants to retire because he can't make money. When you're making $30,000 a month, you say, you know what, this isn't so bad. I'll retire this way. But it is what it is. I like your style, Janice.
Right.
Nobody's from California. Where are you from originally?
California, from Vacaville.
All right, I'm an idiot. Listen, what's your email address?
I'm wrong, but it's
perfect.
Okay,
I have it.
I'll just text it to you.
I Googled your number and that we got from Jason, so I got the Century 20. Hit me with a text. You'll see Jeremiah will put together the LOI, and you'll see it within a day. God bless.
All right. Perfect.
Bye.
All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Yep.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye.
After all the scolding.
Dude, you got me fucking. Dude, I was already praying. Man, look. Dude, I'm fucking passive side. I don't even know how to explain the feeling that I'm feeling. And I know usually you tell people don't get excited because the LOI hasn't been written yet. But fuck, man.
Well, I'm ready to bring you down a notch because you didn't write any of that down. Did you know it was on YouTube so you don't have to write it down? Because you can always go back.
I wrote them.
Look,
I started documenting some of it, man. But fuck, dude. Fuck, man.
okay, I know what you think.
Is this really happening?
No, it's not. It's all smoke and mirrors, buddy. Look,
Oh, shit.
this isn't luck. Luck has nothing to do with this or anything in life, in my opinion. Okay. This
Yes, sir.
is a path that you took. You had look, you, like many people, are incapable of doing what I just did. And it's not magic. That was not a big deal. This store is ready to fall. And if I can break my arm patting myself on the back, it's just knowing and understanding people how to talk. And look, I talked over her a couple of times. Oh, I'm rude. You know, if I evaluated that call and watched it all again, I got shit to say, right? So I interrupt people. But she also does the same. And I think we had a good banter. And without asking, bro, I didn't ask her questions other than one at the very end. Everything's done. All of the psychological warfare is over. The psyops are finished. And then you say, so tell me this, right? I don't call up and say, what happened in the laundry? I don't care. She told me about the 2 previous offers because I didn't ask. Okay. One idiot, second, even the one that has 10 stores was dumb enough to sign that NDA. Bro, over it, rubber stamp. This is not the most brilliant, most perfect call I've ever made, but this particular happenstance is exactly why no one should ever buy a laundromat. When did you first think, I want to get into the laundry business? Timeline, chronologically, when did you first have that thought? You personally.
As soon as I journeyed out from my apprenticeship, that was the last thing my instructor told me to do, was find a way out. And I was already looking. He told me that himself from being in the trades, find a way out. And I don't mean to get personal with you, but my mentor just passed away like 2 weeks ago from killing himself. It was too much stress. It's the trades, it's a lot of pressure. And
so remind me, your apprenticeship, and you're currently working in which trade?
Drywall framing.
So
the thing about it,
I know all about it. I've done it.
Slow.
I've done it, bro. And it's either 10 years ago in the housing boom, they were hiring contractors just to hang drywall. They were hiring entire contracting crews just to tape it. They were hiring entire crews just to sand it. Can you imagine?
Right.
And now, it's slowed down and it's getting worse.
Now here's the thing: the LOI is what, another $1,000, right?
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was separate, or was that included in the total package,
Jeremiah,
or whatever?
I can't. No. Anybody who wants my letter of intent, whether they've seen my course or they're just watching a YouTube video, I'll email them my letter of intent. My letter of intent. You and I are going to work on this LOI together.
Yes, sir.
We've got like 3 plates spinning right now. Number 1, sorry for your loss. Number 2, that's astounding. The story that you can tell, where the day of your graduation from your apprenticeship, which is supposed to be all hugs and kisses and hand jobs, and the guy says, get the fuck out. Wow.
Yeah. It sounds like the movie Get Out.
Wow. And so that was the moment when you started looking for something else.
Yeah, it was already an idea, but that just puts, guaranteed that I needed to do that. You know what I mean? Because when you retire from construction, people don't live that long. The stress and all that shit.
Not if you don't move to management.
Right, that part.
Okay.
I've been sleeping in my
She has already texted me her email, which we already know from the Googlenator. I'm going to send you the letter of intent. I'm going to send you instruction. Read the instruction through and through, twice, 3 times, okay? This is not a quiz in high school. It's not a quiz on drywall and how far apart the number 8 screws need to be. This is, I know a lot of shit about a lot of shit. This is about the reality of your moving forward and understanding the processes, okay? And don't be in a hurry. We're not going to send it till tomorrow, no matter what, because we need fresh eyes.
Right.
You write a poem, you think it's a masterpiece, then you wake up, you sober up, and you say, wow, this is dirt. I need to fix this and this and this. That's what we do in business. So cool your jets, calm down. And this is not a story yet. None of this is done.
Okay.
She's told us, you can spin out of control about, the other people. And this is how people screw up and lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. They say, well, I'll buy the business. He wants 300 grand. I'll give him 100 because I'm making a deal of 200 off. Or I know that he doesn't have a lease, but I'll give him 50,000 so I have some ownership rights. This man is trying to sell nothing for 300 grand. Proof positive in the words. Dude, been doing this a long, long time. When I started, there was no Danny D'Angelo. When I started, I didn't know. There was no information other than some book that I purchased online, and it turned out that it was a fake AI book where they inserted, and this is 20 years ago, it wasn't even AI. Name the business. So you want to be an optometrist. Well, the first thing about being a optometrist laundromat, that you could tell where they had inserted the word. I read that 2 pages of that thing. I was like, well, I'm out $50. And part of that process for me was why I do this now. You fucked up. You went and called both realtors. It's not the end of the world, okay? She didn't mention you. She didn't want to know what cog you are in this wheel. No big deal. All right, I got shit to do. Goodbye.
All right, brother. Yes, sir.
Ciao. That's Sir. And there's her email. Wow. What a fun call that was. I'm glad you guys were here to witness it. Let's get to your queries. I label these live videos before they happen. I hope you understand. When we have a very good, fruitful conversation, or even just a landlord that tells me to go get stuffed, I go back and change the title. So the title is, do you know a single person who bought a profitable laundromat? And that's our first question, our first chat is Walt saying, I wish I did know someone personally. What does that mean, Walt? I assume Walt is saying that because he's doing research on coin laundries. And Walt wishes he knew someone so he could go have tea with that person and talk about their success. But Walt, please understand why I titled it that way. Not for clickbait. I don't do that shit. Don't care. I want 48 or 50 people like we have right now that are invested in this, that have vested their time and energy and effort, that know that they're either going to learn from this. I don't prefer to preach to the choir, or they've already understood that there is not a single person who bought a laundromat that's already successful. Who would sell a successful coin laundromat, Walt? There's the question. Wisdom Seeker has cheers and popcorn. Guys, we're going to rip through your questions and do a Q&A here. So grateful for these BTS Insights calls. What does BTS stand for? Sorry, Justin. Jorge says, good morning. Good morning. Let's give a little teaser. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go over to New York City and do a call with Hender. Hender's probably on here. Hender's standing by. Who is Hender? Hender's our old friend, Danny D, he likes to say. Hender and I worked together, met him in Florida at one of our laundry events. He's been on the lives. He's become a friend. I broke bread. I don't believe we broke bread yet. Shelly and I are going to go to New York and visit his free laundromat. Got a free laundromat. There are other YouTubers doing laundry things. Why they all pick fights with me? I guess it's obvious. None of them want to debate me. Not a single one of them will say, well, I want to go on your channel or have you on mine and talk about how nothing's free. But this other individual had Hender on the other week. I was all excited. Oh, Hender's going on the channel. I saw the video pop up, heavily edited, and the whole gist of the video is free laundromat. It's not hard to find. And out of the gate, is anything free? And then after talking to Hender for a couple hours, when he made a comment about how, no, nothing's free. I don't say this is free. You just saw Jeremiah inches away from scooping up a laundromat at no cost, or the guy's trying to sell it for $300,000. Sounds free to me. Yes, you're going to spend on the retool, of course. What's the proof in that video almost makes it seem as, I mean, look, everybody's trying to elevate themselves. They want to make $1,000 a minute on YouTube. That's what they want. That's their goal, to make free money on YouTube. Every time I say fuck, I know that my videos will not go anywhere other than to you guys, but I still do it. Is that because I have Tourette's or because I don't give a shit? When you think these people are wholesome because they say gee whiz, it's because they're trying to play the YouTube algorithm. AI is pretty smart. AI finds the curse words. It also finds you say the word algorithm. But I digress. I'm excited about a call like that, but you guys need to realize that about 1% of what I do is on the YouTube machine. Maybe 1%. I'm sending out dozens of LOIs through my clients every month. So if you're listening, get ready. And those of you who are on here, don't go anywhere because we're going to do a live with Hender. Point being, Hender got his laundromat, paid me not only my retainer, it's cheap, but also our closing fee. I don't go anywhere. I will continue to talk to every single client forever. I'm an idiot in that way. I don't want you or anyone else to say, well, if I hire this guy, where is he going to go? Where is he going to be? What am I going to get? I give out my personal cell phone number. That's unheard of. There are other YouTubers and consultants who you get in a chat with 300 other people once a month. Come on. Come on. And you put up with it. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy. I will never be that guy. Jorge says, good morning. TDG says, live, Danny. You're a very generous man and a great teacher, if I do say so my damn self. Thank you for being an expert and being willing to share it so freely. Well, thank you. That means a lot. Rhonda says, I'll definitely hire you. Okay, start with the course, Rhonda. And that's not because I want to zap you for a few $100. It's because the course is what you need first. Willie says, this is typical Danny call conversation, relax and calm. I need to get back to our normal cadence call next week, Danny. I got new locations. You got it, Willie. Billy says, their old lady sells it. I don't know what that means. What's been proven here is Danny is in your corner, makes up for many shortcomings. Thanks. 57, hit the thumbs up, he's telling people. Okay. I don't have admins. I don't really know how that works. I don't, frankly, need them. So every single comment in these chats is untouched. Sometimes people redact their own comments. I don't know what they said. Maybe that was misspelled. I'm not sure. But thank you, TGG, whoever you are, for all the thumbs up. Justin says, just absorbing right now. RN, I know what that means. Have plenty of questions next time. Okay. Andrew says, I bought a profitable laundromat. It's even more profitable now. I also reopened a closed laundromat. Any one of you guys want it for free, I'll be happy to give it to you. Any of you guys want it for free, I'll be happy to give it to you. Okay, Andrew, you're full of shit. Andrew is jumping on here trying to wind us up, obviously. So thanks, troll Andrew. Thank you, Danny, says Justin. You're welcome. If the operator's lease is up in 2 weeks and he doesn't sell within that time frame, he has no choice but to leave after that point, correct, Noah? Noah, if he tries to fight, they're going to have to spend money to get him out, but it doesn't really make sense. They'll lock him out. He shouldn't fight. His lease is up. What is insane about this, Noah, is the fact that he's trying to sell it. And the fact that people buy these businesses every single day and then go to the landlord. You just heard an end-run conversation where we spoke to the landlord's agent who's completely in charge of the lease, and she says, there's no way that this man is staying. What can he do to stay? Nothing. Nothing. You don't want to spend money to get in a fight with somebody. You ever been punched in the face, Noah? Not pleasant. Someone punches you, you've got a decision to make, fight or flight. What am I going to do? What's it going to cost me? If you're a trained ninja, you swing back and you're probably going to break the guy's nose, maybe his neck, and you're going to have to spend money. So getting into that fight is the beginning. Do they want to fight with him? There's a million axes swinging here, and we're not sure what the outcome will become. But he's done. That operator's done. I told you exactly what he should have done. He should have marched in their office months ago, if not years, and said, sign in a new 15-year lease, even if he didn't retool it. Then he'd have something to sell. Not for us, not for Jeremiah, not for any of you. I'd say, oh, he's got 10 years on his lease. You hear me on my channel making these calls endlessly. Landlord's a prick. Yeah, you got 10 years left. Okay, thanks. Behind the scenes, thank you, Justin. I guess I should know that. Behind the curtain. Carl says hi. Hi, Carl. Is that because I have Tourette's? Haha, I forgot what I said, but I'm funny. Jorge says, Danny, if they don't want to take off the appliances, landlord, that's a good thing. If they don't want to take off the appliances, I don't know what you mean. We might as well keep the party going just a little bit. We might as well. Little dialing music, Paul. Yeah, my phone decides to lock up and not allow me to text or do anything. That's fun. Love it. You're about to hear Denny D. God knows what Hender is doing. This is why we need the dialing music.
Donnie D.
LOI going out in California. Well, that's not a big deal. That's the second one today. What are you doing?
Oh, man. Just waiting for your phone call.
Don't do that. You know better.
Hi.
Okay. So what is the story with this? Isn't there one store that you're all excited about?
Well, I don't get excited anymore, but yeah, it's
You're such an old sage, aren't you?
until I'm not bleeding ink or losing money.
I wonder why you go on somebody else's YouTube channel and don't quote me and say what a wonderful person I am. Strange.
Amazing.
Clever editing, I guess. Come on, what's your problem? You haven't had any coffee? Buttered roll?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm sipping one right now. So
Good.
So this guy Danny is ready to apparently to rent now moving forward. So he loved me, which is hard to believe.
We're talking about Broadway.
Yes.
All right.
He has now. He did what I did, I guess. He has now a real estate guy that is doing it. So
Dude, pretend like I don't know any of this because I don't remember any of it. The store, what have you done?
you want me to give you a little background?
Yeah. Give me the place is gutted. What's the story?
Yeah, it's got it. Doesn't have a. He recently moved all the machines out. There's nothing in there. Probably they remove also some of the electrical and water line from the washers. The gas line is still there for the dryers.
And I talked to this guy in May of last year, almost a year ago. I spoke to the landlord, Franco, right?
Correct. You spoke to him briefly about at that time, like I said, there's some legality with it and he couldn't rent it, not even if he wanted to.
Okay. I remember that. But he also
So
wanted
now all that is
taken care of. The guy's out. All right. You're killing me. What has transpired since? Now we're dealing with an agent, not Franco himself?
correct.
Okay. What's the agent's first name?
Mike Zaleski.
Mike. Okay, that's the whole name. I see that name. Excellent. Have you communicated with him? What have you done?
Well, yeah, he reached out to me and said, look, Franco is finally ready to rent it and move forward. So I said, so he gave me a little background story about he went into bankruptcy. He couldn't rent it for 5 years. He removed the machines and now he's ready to rent it and blah, blah, blah. So he wanted to rent it to you. You have a laundromat already and so on and so forth.
Which you do. Which is really
you.
good. So in that discussion, $32 a square foot all in.
So yes, if I can explain a little bit. So he said, it's actually the square foot is about 16 square foot, but the triple nets are about the same, if not more. I didn't want to use to kind of, used to ask too much about it, but he kind of used to spill the beans instead, like, it's 16, 17. So when everything comes down, you're looking at about 32 a square foot all in. We're flexible and blah, blah, blah. And, we can work around. But I just didn't want it to do anything more than just to listen to him.
This guy's a professional realtor.
Apparently, yeah, he's an elderly man, been doing it for many years.
Oh, okay. So probably a friend of
But
Franco's.
Very nice and sweet. Yes. Very nice and sweet man, though. Very nice and mellow. And
Good for him. All right. I don't need any more than that. Let's call him up. Stand by.
Let's do it. Roger that.
Now is where you subscribe, you louts. I've never called this number before. Mike.
Mike Zaleski here.
Mike, Danny D'Angelo.
That's me.
Hi. I am.
Hi.
Hender Alvarado is my partner in the Laundromat game, and we wanted to see if we couldn't get something done here on Broadway.
Yeah, sure.
So look, I've got 36 stores in the tri-state area.
36.
Yeah, and been doing this.
You know the drill.
Couple of decades. I do. I made the mistake, Mike, of buying my first location, and that's because I was very naive and very excited both, and that's a poor combination. I'd never stepped foot in a laundromat in my life that I could remember. And at the end of the day, didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I learned right away, well, I'm either going to sell this failure or I'm going to build up more stores. And what I had learned is I had to negotiate a lease after I just bought this place. That was a mistake because the landlord knew that I couldn't do anything any different. So my lease was a wreck. Fast forward to today, we go out and scout, and it's nice that this place is shut and it's shuttered. But the truth is, the preponderance of the stores we take over have operators. They're actually people in there running them into the ground, and we're calling on those as well. Bottom line, knowing the drill, like you said, I have to spend a lot of money on equipment in these locations. We're not afraid to do that. You spoke to Hender briefly. You can go visit the other stores if you'd like. I can email you. But our rate has to reflect the fact that we have to spend the money on that equipment. And you might go back to Franco. I talked to him a year ago. I don't know if he told you, but we had a brief conversation. You might go back to him and say, I don't think a laundromat's a good fit for you. I don't know. But then you've got to spend the money to vanilla the space, turn it into a gray shell.
26,000. Already done it.
There you go. You must have a cousin in the contracting business.
I've only built an office building and a shopping center. That's all. Never built multifamily, though. I built a Manhattan office building and a shopping center of 240 GLA.
Lovely. So you got a quote for $26K just to turn it back to a gray shell.
Yeah, no, listen, I get it. I walk into a building and I can tell you within $10,000 what it's going to cost you to build in New York City, Long Island, Nassau and Suffolk, and Hudson Union, Essex and County. So I built 11, I'm not trying to go on. I built 11 Key Foods, and I built 5 Wendy's.
With your bare hands.
Let's go back. Well, let's go back on this. So let's go right to the deal. Because the reason is a laundromat is not the best use for the property, but it's a quick use. And Franco was underinsured by $1 million, and he went into bankruptcy with Dime. And that's part of the reason the space was not rented. Dime wouldn't allow him. He has emerged in a restructuring plan. You would be a post-petition expense and protected by the courts. I am court appointed by the bankruptcy trustee. I used to be the trustee for Newmark and Lewis and Crazy Eddie. So if you recall those places.
Oh, I
this
love
can't be
Crazy
beat. This is the greatest deal. Oh, yeah. And Antar was he was a much better guy in later life. But when he was running Crazy Eddie's, he was a bad boy. And Dick Lewis was a bad boy, too. He torched the store, and he got caught with fraud by Chubb. So, boys and their toys. So we have definite ideas. We are going to do a laundromat because it's a quick fix, and it pumps up the revenue. It's not the best thing. We've got a choice of 3 major restaurants. One's from Red Bull, one's from La Pizzeria, which is a major Italian chain on Long Island of 3 locations, and the guy is truly restaurant royalty, and he's catering to the businesses in the area. And the spot really goes for dry wash and fold. That's really what it is, because you've got so many people who would do the drop off or you do the pickup. And you and I both know you went to heaven when you do hotels and you do homeless centers. Those are the ways to go. So what do you want to do before I start talking?
Well, this discussion is about the rate of rent, what abatement you can offer.
Okay, sure. Listen, let's go right to it.
There's TI.
Sure, let's go right to it. I can't give you TI dollars per se. I can give you up to a year's free rent. That's what I can do. The courts have really mandated what I can and I can't do. Taxes, CAM, and insurance are $17 a square foot.
Oof. We're
looking at rent. Yeah, and in Nassau County, nobody is less than $10 a square foot due to the school districts. Nobody. It just doesn't exist. We're putting in new signage. Anyway, so let's just talk about the rent. The rent is, I can't do a deal less than 32 gross. Can't do it. So if you need less than that, this is not the place for you. So let's just go right to the number. 32 gross. That's every nasty thing tacked in.
Mm-hmm. So we're
So
looking
let's
at
just-
$15.
Correct. Rent.
Listen, it's not what I can or can't do. It's the fact that I got to eat. And I like the way you talk. I appreciate the background. Next door, we got a nail salon, right? Well, if you don't have 32 cousins that can sit down and do that service, you're in trouble. Across the street, you got a dollar store, and they try to buy tchotchkes from China for 50 cents and sell them for double. That doesn't work anymore. I'm an equipment business. I have to spend $250 a square foot for this to make sense. You say there's no TI. Laundromats destroy
I can give you free rent.
Right. Laundromats destroy air conditioning. I know that the roof is going to be in a solid condition, et cetera, but we are going to need AC. And you have to do that.
We have 2 510 units upstairs for you.
2 5-ton units. New?
Yep.
Okay, good.
What happened was the woman who was there
That's your
played
business.
games with us, and she torched places. She's torched her second place. So,
Oh, nice.
So she's out of business.
So you got
No,
insurance money for the AC units. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody's got a business plan. I may not agree with you, but it works with some people.
Mike, you told me that I shouldn't even bother if it's not $15 a square foot. I prefer $12 when your triple nets are that high. So we're not playing a game. You've been doing this a long time. I know that this isn't a game. I know that I'm not going to go low, you go high, but I don't want to make a killing here. None of my laundromats do. I want to make money. I don't want to come to you hat in hand in 6 months or 6 years and beg for a rent reduction. I want to do this right.
Oh, I do that. Let me go right to it. I do that. I sit down with guys. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, but that's a horrible thing. That's a terrible thing. I want to stick to my word.
That's reality.
Yeah, I want to stick to my word. I want to do what I don't want to come to you and say, look, it's not working because of some outside factor. I understand what it takes to be successful. We become the police of the center. We throw the knuckleheads out. We sign rights to trespass with the precinct. All the little things that it takes to be successful. But $32 is still high. I mean, we're what's the square footage exactly? 2,200.
2,000. Oh yeah, about that. About 2,133, I think. I can email you all the details. I've got them all written out, and I've got scale drawings and things.
Well, I'm gonna give you an LOI. Give us a day, but you're telling me it's got to be $15.
Well, there's a way around that. What we're doing to everybody is this: we're saying, I tell you what, we'll give you no increases for 4 years, and when the increases do hit, they'll start from when you first came in. And it's because of the bankruptcy court, we have a payment due in July of about $150,000. So we'll give you 4 years no rent if you prepay those 4 years up front. That's really what we're doing.
4 years, no increases.
No increases.
Oh, no rent if you pay the rent up. Well, we're not in the position.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're still paying it, but you don't have
all of my stores. All of my 36. This would be 37 locations are an island. So I'm smart enough to know I'm not going to rob Peter to pay Paul. I can't really play that game. I'm sure that makes sense to you. All right.
You're not Trump doing construction.
Send me. You have the offers such as your increases, etc., ready to go?
Oh, I've got everything all written up. Yes, we've done this before.
Sure, I hope so.
Tell me what you want if this works for you. I don't know.
Well, I would send you an LOI, but I don't want to leave anything out that you're offering. So email me that. I don't know if you emailed Hender at all. What's your email address? Brilliant. Got it the first time. You're going to see an email from Danny
I like Hender a
D'Angelo.
lot.
Good. Yeah. And send us back what you can do. We'll put together an LOI and send it your way. You're telling me there's no TI, 12 months abatement, and we'll write it for $15. We'll see what happens.
It's up to you. Yeah. Well, you've got your listen. If you do $250 a foot, let's say you do your equipment is $250, then I think in the building. Anyway, I don't do it per square foot. I always do when I do laundromats and I built them out in the city. I do them by how many units. Did Hender explain to you how many units he can put in there?
Yeah, well, you're talking about TPD numbers, turns per day, all
That's
that
right,
is
exactly.
that's all horseshit. That's all information that
Okay.
distributors use to sell equipment. Look, it's not the biggest it's not the biggest store. It's not the smallest. The square footage works. There's people try to build laundromats in the city for 900 square feet. It's because they got some itch they want to scratch. And instead of having a guy in a bodega selling fucking lottery tickets, they want to build a laundromat because it's hooker and blow money because their wife doesn't know that it's cash. So at the end of the day, we run a real store.
Well, yeah, but I've seen on 9th and 10th Avenue, 24/7 places. And I've known the guys who operated them, and they tell me about, let's say you have hookers and boosters and pickpockets who come in at all hours of the day. That's a different clientele. You're not going to get that in Nassau County.
No, I know. I'm talking about the landlords that need the cash for those types, not the other way around.
Oh.
Mike, God bless.
Right.
This is my cell phone number. Am I calling you on yours?
Yeah, no, I'm calling. You're calling my office number.
What's your cell number? Okay, I'll make sure you have my wireless as well. It's the only number I operate from. Send me back what you got. I'll email you, and we'll go to the mattresses on this thing. Thanks, Mikey.
Okay.
All right, ciao. Get that guy off the fucking phone. I don't think he sounds that old.
He sounds nice.
He's
older than me, at least.
You know, guys like that, he just wants to run his mouth and talk to you about Crazy Eddie and all the people he's known and da-da-da-da-da. And then at the end there, when I said, okay, let's do a deal, got his email address, then he starts to sell, right? Then now he's selling. He's like, did Henry talk to you about how many machines you can fit and whatever else? And then I turn the tables and say, like, dude, none of that matters. You need X amount of space. You need infrastructure. And then he just laughs. So I'm not here to make people like me. You know, you can go from a nice gal in California and do business and a professional realtor who's been, you know, he's telling me all these things that he built. To me, when you build a Wendy's, that means you're in there swinging a hammer. To this guy, it means that he worked with a bunch of people that built a Wendy's. You know what I mean? Good for him. I wouldn't call him elderly.
Probably lack of term on my part.
There's no such thing as a free laundromat, Hender, and that's why you paid me to negotiate, and then you went right ahead and paid my retainer again. Bastard. Did this guy email you yet? Has he sent you any emails yet?
Negative. But he doesn't have my email address, so.
Okay. I want you to email him. I'm not going to email him. We will keep me in the shadows for now, but I want you to CC me in the email. All right?
Okay.
You're going to use my standard canned email. It's going to come direct from you. CC me, and then he should write us back because we're not at LOI phase yet. He started throwing out all these things they are offering, right? And all that confusing malarkey about what Franco got sued for and the lady torched the place and all that. What he's saying about the AC units is that they have them ready to go, meaning they have some other insurance thing that paid for them already. Does that make sense?
Okay, so in other words, they don't have it in the place, but they're ready to deploy it.
That's what I get from it, yeah. And you have to understand how very, very important conversations, even with a fast-talking guy like this, you have to write it all down because you don't want to miss it. He can later say, well, I didn't say that we're going to put both units on this part of the building. I said that we had them available for the whole building or whatever he says. You know, I do not think that he will go back on his word, but I've seen it. So have you in your time doing this. So, all right, I'm done with you. What I'm going to do is you have his email. I'm going to send you my canned email just again, tweak it a little bit, send it to him, and at the end say, we'd like to see what you're offering potential tenants ASAP because we're going to send you a letter of intent. You got a year free rent. And I said 15. You notice how you said that he wanted 16? I said 15, and he said okay. He also tried to up what you said it was $16 triple nets. He's saying now it's 17. You can't trust somebody who's just fudging numbers. They went up $1 in the last week.
And also, when you said $12, he didn't, just hang the phone either.
Oh, you could write. He made that egregious error saying we can't accept less than $32 all in, which is the same thing he told you.
Mm-hmm.
Say goodbye.
Wait, why are you leaving me so soon?
Because I got to take care of some shit. You know how it is.
Oh, well, in that case,
I'm sending you the email.
get out and do it.
Kisses.
Ciao. Gracias.
Ciao.
Bye.
Adios.
Ciao.
All right, back to the kids. I put these little lines here. This has turned out to be epical, right? You guys go out with the knowledge from the course. You scout laundromats physically. You decide whether or not you want to make the call or you want me to make the call. And if you want me to make the call, we do it this way. Didn't Brandon at Investment Joy buy a successful laundromat? You're baiting the audience. No, he did not. Alejandro just finished the silly course and learned a ton. Looking forward to consulting with Danny, getting my free laundry in San Francisco. Let's do it, buddy. That's easy. You can click the little button in the course. And people email me all the time and they say, how do I get in touch with Danny? I'm like, oh, you've seen the course? They can't even find the button because you got to understand, I'm not shoving this down anybody's throat. I'm not on here with a pop-up ad every second. Get the course, get the course. But if you're serious about this, do that. Just get it. Find out if this is right for you, number one. If it is, if you have the time and the inclination, the intelligence, then get educated first before you make any other moves. Any other moves. Andrew says, I'm 100% serious about the free laundromat. If one of your students would like to take the laundromat over, I'll be happy to walk away. As Danny always says, I'm done. Location, Melbourne, Florida. I'm not a broker, Andrew. So I don't broker deals like that. I do not get in the middle. That's for brokers to do. I don't want to deal with someone now on this live saying, I need to get in touch with this dude so that I can scoop up that store. And you've got some other vested interest that I don't need to have control of it, but that's not the point of this. I hope that makes sense. Now we've got people, again, just asking. I've put him in a temporary block. So is it profitable? What's the lease term? See what I mean? If you want to send me an email, Andrew, and tell me the detail, I still will not put that in front of someone. People need to go out and physically locate these stores. Yours perhaps is one of them. And then we'll talk to the landlord. So all the questions are now about that store because they see blood in the water. They're excited. How to recognize good laundromat equipment to keep before retooling. Sam, you don't know, and you won't know what the 57 Chevys are that are out there, but when you bring the distributors in to retool, they'll bring their guys with them, the boots on the ground guys with the busted knuckles, and they'll say, oh, I wouldn't get rid of this equipment, and we can fix this equipment. You'll learn real quick. what's good. There's a lot of it is good. And when they vacate and they leave the equipment there, you're going to keep the store open. So you'll figure out either way. Sam says, R spelled A-R-E, car wash business is profitable like Chris shows on Car Wash Chronicles. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know anything about the business other than my friend Chris. But yeah, he does very well. Have you seen his girlfriend? His wife. Sorry. Maybe find out the date the machine was made. The Daninator. Okay. Never been called that before. Congrats to Hender working on his second laundromat. I'm thinking about paying Danny's retainer for the second time. Also, meanwhile, I have even got my first laundromat yet. That doesn't make sense, dude. Selena's Dish authorized dealer. Huh? Sup, Danny? Sup? Got 2 laundromats and an empty building. How can I get equipment without using my own money? Got 2 laundromats and an empty building. How can I get equipment without? You need to get on the phone with me if this is true information. Okay? You need that. I'm not going to harp on it. And the only way to do that is having seen my silly course. I don't want to waste your time, much less mine, talking about all of the minutia. You might see the course and say, well, my 2 laundromats are completely screwed because I'm not doing XXX. Maybe that's all you do is learn from that. My silly course is not just about scooping up stores and making these calls. Not at all. It's about operations. It's about the everything. Hender says 2 is better than 1 and 3 is better than 2 and keep doing the math. Oh, Zach says the same. 4 is better than 3. Oh, you guys are awesome. Let's do the math. That is the goal, and that is going to be the point. As soon as I burn this down in 2 seconds, all 56 of you go over to the comment section and do some math. Give us a comment, not here in the top chat, but over there about math. I paid for your course when I was in high school. Paid the fee, but ended up being too immature and ready back then. Building use. Okay, all right. Done with you guys. Go make a comment right now. I got LOIs to send out. Ciao.